Good morning.
Hey, Sunday morning. I've got my venti pumpkin cream cold brew to keep me awake.
I got my coffee. We're on the same wavelength.
We're ready to go for week two.
Yeah.
This is Answers by Guess, the inside scoop from outside the box, week two. Also, always want to point out we are commercial free. So we just give you the information. You don't have to listen to any nonsense commercials.
Hey, the commercials weren't too bad. I'll give them that. Right? It wasn't too bad last week. I watched Red Zone. I don't know if you do, but they weren't too bad. So I was happy. I was worried that I saw some you can't call them memes. I guess they are kind of. But it's like Red Zone in 2025. It's like, oh, he throws back. Oh, hey, come to Taco Bell. It's like it wasn't that bad. I was expecting to not see the touchdown or the payoff, but it wasn't too bad.
I think they're going to break it in really slowly. By the time week seven comes along, we'll be.
Then that way people won't even notice.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
Just
that's
a
fine.
commercial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
Well, we have a lot to cover here on a Sunday. So let's start off right away. And all right. First of all, we'll start with the Guest Gazette Sunday edition headlines. I'm going to start right back off, have you gloat a little bit. But Thursday night's game, the Packers 27, the Commanders 18. I'll talk about the injuries with you in just a few minutes, but just wanted to get your thoughts on your Packers. You had predicted the Commanders to either win outright or cover the 3.5 points. And tell you the Packers, again, looked really good. What did you see with this Packers-Commanders game?
Yeah, I was nervous. Documented here. Felt like the Commanders were a team that had enough to upset the Packers riding high after last week, but that was not the case. I think being at home obviously certainly helped, and the Commanders were the ones that had to travel. Listen, I had Matthew Golden over 3.5 receiving yards first quarter. Then I had an alternative line 10 plus yards first quarter. And I had first touchdown. Jordan Love underthrew him for like a 35-yard pass in the first quarter on their very first drive that should have been a touchdown if he would put a little more air on it. Now, granted, Golden could have came back a little and cut and got the ball. That's a rookie mistake, but Jordan Love shouldn't be making that mistake. He should be putting it out over the top. He's gonna pop, and now you'll talk about more with Reed being out. I love that Dobbs continues to do what he does. Tucker Kraft. I told everybody just hold on to Tucker Kraft. You're overreacting. So looked good, and I dare I say, Marty, that I think the sophomore slump that I predicted out of Mr. Daniels. Even against the Giants, he didn't look crazy good. Now let's hold back a little bit because Terry wasn't there all camp, so he's still getting acclimated. They are getting Debo involved. He's getting a few other guys involved here and there. So we'll see how it turns out. But if I was doing answers with guests by myself, I think I'd have it at 2-0 right now because I don't think he looked great week one and he didn't look that good. They bottled him up real good. And I think this Micah Parsons, when you posted it on the page, I said I grabbed their defense as fast as I could. I think their defense looks really good. I hope it stays.
Yeah, the one thing you mentioned about the Commanders would win, but in the first two games, the Packers, obviously playing at home, played Detroit, a top NFC team. Now the Washington Commanders, you expected the Lions to take a step back. The Commanders, you're worried about the sophomore slump, but I really think the Packers defense is for real, and early on they're looking really good, and I think they're only going to get better. They've really shown a lot of the NFL teams the weaknesses that the Lions and Commanders have, and so to be determined.
Yeah, and bring on the Eagles because they're taking down all the NFC powerhouses from last year. So let's just get them out of the way too.
Well, hopefully the Packers don't have a letdown next week. They play at
Yeah.
Cleveland,
Yeah,
and the
big time.
Commanders play at home against the Raiders. We went over some props last week. So you mentioned that the Commanders were going to win and cover. You got that wrong. Jaden Daniels, 240 passing yards. You went back and forth and then thought, yep, he's going to be passing all over. He had 200 yards. Josh Jacobs had a really nice game with 84 yards. JCM, we'll talk a little bit more, obviously, today with his injuries, but then also on Tuesday, I'm sure. The Commanders just didn't give too many rushing attempts. He only had 17 yards. Jordan Love, almost 300 yards. Matthew Golden, I knew you were going to bring him up. I had him at 5 receptions for you. You said under, but they missed him a couple times, and that was it. There's a lot of frustration there. And finally, Scary Terry, we got to push there, another push.
Yeah.
CD last week, Terry this week. So
yeah. So hey, 67%, I'd say. Yeah. I mean, and that's about where I sit. When all these times that Rob and I were doing ABG 3P, that's where you want to be. 2 out of 3. I think Meatloaf said it best. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Paradise by the Dashboard Light. All right. Just wanted to touch about a couple of the injuries. You mentioned Jaden Reed, broken collarbone. Obviously, Wicks released Kraft. Who are you looking for to take over for Jaden Reed down the line?
It's going to be the same thing. Love spreading it around, and it's working. So he'll continue to take his shots with Golden. Golden will he's getting his feet wet. So Reed is sort of that jackknife type of player, switchblade, whatever you want to call it. He can play all different positions, run the ball a couple times. So they'll just continue on. They got Wicks, they got Malik Heath, they got guys to fill in. They'll be all right.
Yeah. Austin Eckler, such a shame. I've had him on many fantasy teams when he was with the Chargers. Torn Achilles. He's probably was his last hurrah, I would imagine. But JCM
episode 1, I'm going to cut you off. Episode 1, when I was talking about JCM, I said I drafted him. I told people to get him a little sooner. Now he had a pretty good week 1 with the one big run for a touchdown. Didn't do much last week, but what I said was it's not if, it's when Austin Eckler goes down. And I don't like to wish hurt upon anybody, but we had a feeling, right?
Yeah, for sure. We'll talk more about the Commanders' backfield in the upcoming week. I just throw these two out here. Every time you think the Commanders are throwing the ball around, Noah Brown's name just comes up. He had an injured groin. And the other thing is just something to keep an eye on if you drafted the Commanders' defense. They had pretty severe quad injury for Dietrich Wise, but the other thing is they had several of their secondary banged up in this game. So it's something to watch if you drafted the Commanders' defense, just to see what those injuries are going to be.
For sure.
All right. Couple headlines here going into the Sunday games. We'll talk more about this game, but Mac Jones starting for Purdy, who's going to be out probably anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks. Is this the Mac Jones from the Jacksonville Jags, or is he the New England Patriots? What are we expecting from Mac Jones with this 49ers team?
Listen, the 49ers, ever since, they did it with Alex Smith, right? And he came out of nowhere and ended up going to Kansas City. But then since then, Jimmy Garoppolo was okay when they had to use him. Brock Purdy, say whatever you want about him. I think he's a system guy, and they got that system. Mac Jones, how many of you, well, it's how many leagues there are in the world, but how many of you drafted Brian Thomas in the first round? You did that because of Mac Jones. Mac Jones was who made Brian Thomas good. It wasn't Trevor Lawrence. He was doing nothing with Trevor Lawrence. Now, granted, it was early in the season. It was rookie quarterback, but Trevor Lawrence has been trash until he proves us otherwise on a consistent basis. Mac Jones stepped in and was chucking the ball all over. He turned Brian Thomas into the star that made every league make him a first round or early second round at least wide receiver draft pick in fantasy this year. And I like Ricky Pearsall today to continue. I think he fits into that mold. They have other guys, and other guys will be coming back. But while Purdy is out, I think Pearsall is going to take the most advantage. I really do.
All right. We'll talk more about that game in a little bit. And the Giants the 49ers are playing the Saints today down in New Orleans. All right.
The only issue you run into that is, are the Saints going to be able to do anything?
Yeah. All right. Quinshon Judkins is activated. The NFL decided they're not going to pursue anything, so it looks like he is full go for the rest of the season, barring any injury. What do you expect? We get to see much from him today. We'll talk about the Browns-Ravens game. It's too bad this didn't happen a week or two ago because the Browns need to run the ball to keep the ball out of Lamar and team. But I think a lot of people are excited from this. Obviously, Ford's probably the one that's going to see a limited play as time goes on.
Yeah, you can't use them today, but if somebody asked a question on Tuesday during our show, Marty, and should I pick him up? Yeah, pick him up. Wait, you're not using him. Wait, let's see what he looks like.
Yeah. All right, I had to bring this up. He's probably rostered by 3%. But if you have Young Hoku, he's been replaced by Parker Romo. And the only reason I brought him up is because he won me some fantasy football championships. I tell you, those long kicks, it's just amazing. He's been replaced by Parker Romo. So we'll talk more about the Falcons game in upcoming. Yep. All right. Now we got the guest lightning answer segment. We had a ton of questions since Tuesday night. So I wanted to go over a lot of those questions here for you. So it says lightning in here, guest, by the way. Lightning answer segment.
Trying. I'll try. I'll do my best. I'm long-winded, Marty.
All right. Sean says, pick 2 for wide receivers. Sutton, Garrett Wilson, Ibuka, or Olave.
It's definitely Garrett Wilson. I don't see how you can sit him. I really want to go Ibuka, but I think I'm going to go Sutton. He's guaranteed, and they're on the road. So that'll give Indy a little bit of home field advantage to move the ball against this tough D. So I'm going to go Sutton and Wilson.
Yeah, I agree. Ibuka's going to be up against one of those tough corners from Texans on Monday night. We'll see what happens with that. All right. Next question.
How's that for lightning, huh?
Yeah, I like that. A little thunder, a little lightning. Yeah. All right, Rob's double dipping on these questions. It's a twofer. Braylon Allen or Charbonnet? I already think I know who your answer is going to be with that. And then half PPR. And then in another league also half PPR. Chubb or Montgomery?
See, I think you think what I'm going to say. I think I know. I think you think I'm going to say Charbonnet, but I'm going to say Braylon Allen. I'm going to say Braylon Allen because they're going against the Bills, and the Bills' rush defense has not been good for a couple of years now. They didn't look great the other night, last week, Monday, against the Ravens, and the Jets will use them. And Charbonnet is going against Pittsburgh, so I like Charbonnet better than Kenneth Walker. I think he's going to be the guy. I've said that many times, but I'm going with Braylon Allen here in half PPR. Charbonnet might get more PPR points, but I like Braylon Allen better, especially if they get close. I think they use him to punch it in. Another league, Chubb or Monty. I'm going to go with Monty. You can't trust the Houston running back situation. I mean, sooner or later, Woody Marks is going to have to be the guy. They're going to have to give him more. And if you're asking me a guy that I loved for a long time in Chubb or Montgomery, who's coming off a big loss, I think that they try and get back to Ben Johnson football, even though he's no longer there. I think they try a little bit today and try and get him involved at home against the Bears. So his old team.
Yeah, give some of that Ben Johnson offense back to to the Bears defense. All right. Full PPR, we got Ted McMillan, London, who has been cleared to play. He will play today. Ridley, he needs to keep only 2, and reasons why those 2.
I really want to say Ridley, but I'm not scared off by the Rams and what their defense did last week. But I don't think I can sit London if he's good to go. Now, if you have a weak stomach, Jason, and you don't want any mid-game setback, you go Tet and Ridley. But I'm going to go Tet and London and figure that he's good enough to go and just hope he doesn't get popped in that shoulder. But I would not be mad if you did Tet and Ridley.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Scott, Javonte Williams, Darnell Mooney, who also will be playing today, Joshua Palmer or Dylan Sampson in the flex spot.
This is tough, and it absolutely has zero bearing, or not bearing, or reasoning to do with last week. But I'm going to go with Javonte, and it's because they're playing the Giants. That's all. It's got nothing to do with him scoring 2 touchdowns last week. It's just he's their starting running back. He's their best running back. They came out and said they don't like the way Jaden Blue is progressing. So he's going to be the guy. They're at home against the Giants after last week's 40 minutes. They looked like they were going to beat the Eagles, and then nothing happened for 20 minutes. I'm going to go with Javonte at home against the Giants. The other guys are just whatever to me. The Sampson I kind of like, but again, with Judkins coming back and Ford there, it's just like, I'd rather go with Javonte. We know what he's going to bring. He's going to be the goal line guy.
Yeah, I think it's a sure thing. He's going to have the consistent touch as the other guys. Low floor.
Yeah.
High ceiling. Yep. We just don't know.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Tiffany, good morning, fam. I'm on the fence and need to know your thoughts. I'm in a standard league and need 2 flex. I can go Pearsall, Ibuka, Coleman, Pollard, and Swift. I'm leaning Pearsall and Ibuka, but was curious on your take.
I definitely want to go with Pearsall. I do like Pearsall today. My only problem with him is going to be not Mac Jones. It's just if they can shut down New Orleans, how much will they need him? So hopefully he gets it early. I don't know why Ibuka. I'm just feeling like I want to sort of stay away, although Stingley is probably going to be on Mike Evans for most of the time, which is going to open up some things for Ibuka. I just think he got his 2 last week. Evanson get 1, so he's going to try to get Evans more involved. Keon Coleman had that resurgence at the end of the game going against the Jets, so that's going to be tough. It comes down to the 2 running backs for me, and Pollard didn't do it last week, but he's the only guy there, and Swift is going against his old team, 2 teams removed, the Lions. I'm going to go with Pollard and Pearsall, a double P.
All right, I agree. Titans are at home. I think we'll see a little bit more of Pollard this week against the Rams, and you've already talked about Pearsall a little bit, like those matchups. All right, Anonymous. I love Anonymous here. Keon Coleman, Waddle, or Olave?
It's just like the 3rd time that Olave's been on here, right? I think I'm going to shock here. I'm going to go with Waddle. At home against New England. They looked lost last week. It looked terrible. But at home, Miami is a different team, and it's where they do their biggest damage is at home. So I'm going to go with Waddle. I'm going to roll the dice a little. Coleman's got that tough Jets secondary. Olave seems like it should be the safest answer, but I'm going to go with Waddle here, anonymous.
I like it. All right. A Dunze or Quentin Johnson?
This is Dunze. I tried to get on to Quentin Johnson 2 years ago when he was a rookie, but he just when you think he's got it together, i.e., this moment in time, he'll drop a couple passes today. Probably at least one touchdown he'll drop. So, going Odunze.
Right. Darren, have to bench to CMC, Jante, ETN, Javonte Williams, McConkey, Hill, I'm guessing Tyreek, McMillan, or Hollywood Brown.
If you got a bench to, I mean, I'm just not a Hollywood guy. I mean, there was a point in time, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I've seen him drop too many balls, right in his bread basket, if you will. And the one that was really jumping out at me was Javonte, which is weird because I recommended him. I'm going to go Hollywood and Javonte to sit. I think your other options are just too good. You can't sit CMC, not against the Saints. You can't sit Ashton Genty, and ETN is the guy. I mean, he's going against Cincinnati, who can't stop the run ever. So those are the two I'm sitting. The other three are number ones on their team.
All right, sit Williams and Brown. Jeremy. All right, he started JCM on Thursday, and instead of Kraft, he messed him up. So now he wants to understand: should we go with JJ or go with Mahomes?
I like JJ still. I think keep that ball rolling. He's at home going against the Falcons. He's got all his weapons except for Addison, but he's got other guys that could fill into that. I'm going to go with JJ, I think. Mahomes going against the Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised if they win that game, but JJ just seems like a better. I know Dak killed the Eagles last week, and the Eagles had a ton of injuries, but he's just got, I don't care what you say, he's got no real weapons. It feels like Mahomes. It's like he's got, I mean, I know Tyquan Thornton, he just missed him, but I'm going to go JJ. I'm going JJ.
All right, Landon, pick one running back to start and one to put in flex. So he's got actually one receiver here, but Walker, Pacheco, Williams again, and Butte.
I'm going to go Javonte and Booty.
All right.
Pacheco looked sluggish last week. He didn't look like the same guy coming back from that injury. He didn't look the same.
Yeah, really interesting to see how he does against the Eagles today. And then I know Walker is a little bit lower on your list out of those.
And he's going against Pittsburgh. I mean,
all right. We have one more question here before we go to the game book. So,
sure.
Chris, Buka, Evans, Pearsall, Pittman, or Keenan Allen, pick three.
I'm going to go with the middle three. Evans, Pearsall, Pittman. I think Evans today is going to slightly outscore Egbuka. Pittman, I know this could be the trap. If you like, I don't, but if you like Keenan Allen or Egbuka and you want to run both bucks more than Pittman, that's fine. But I think you have to play Evans, Pearsall. And I'm going to go with Pittman at home. I know it's against Denver. But let's just hope he could, for the first time in his damn life, put two good games together.
All right.
Daniel Jones could be all he ever needed.
Could be. We'll talk about the game in a second. All right, let's go over some of the week 2 matchups, and we'll get back to some of your questions coming up. First game, 1:00 in Cincinnati. The Bengals favored by 3.5 over the Jags. Over under of 49.5. It's going to be hot. which is the Jaguars are used to. So, what do you see in this game? Who do we start? Who is someone that you think's really going to shine in this game, either with the Jaguars or the Bengals?
Let's see if you drafted someone like, let's say, I don't know, Matthew Golden, right? And he gave you nothing week 1. You wouldn't have started in week 2. For the majority of guys, now I don't have to tell you, you're starting Jamar Chase, who gave you nothing last week. He'll pop off in this game. The Bengals are going to have their way. I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor Lawrence does something in this one and looks okay against this Bengals defense. It could be a more of a back and forth game than I think Cincinnati would like. The over under sort of points to that, right? But I mean, aside from the obvious, who's a guy that you're going to pull off from these two teams and start over somebody else? ETN, maybe if you had ETN as your third running back and you got either an injury or you feel a little iffy on a guy, I think he could be somebody that'll go off in this game against the Bengals rush defense, also catching passes. He was very involved last week, was probably on most everybody's bench unless it was a super deep league. And with no Tank Bigsby there, that's just more for ETN. So, I mean, you're going to have the BTJ guys just continue to play him. The Brenton Strange people, if he's all you got at tight end, I personally, at this point, I think maybe it might have been a flash in the pan type thing last year when he came in and filled in, but we'll see. I don't think there's going to be too many surprises in this one.
Yeah, I agree. Last week, the Bengals started off slow. A year ago, in the first 2 weeks, the Bengals started off slow, but I think Burrow, Higgins, and Chase are going to have some big games today against the Jags. All right, next game. We've talked a little bit about it. The Bills are favored 6.5 at New York, and the Jets fans are feeling really good about Justin Fields and how they played at Pittsburgh. The over-under is 46.5. A little bit of chance of rain perhaps later in the game, but your thoughts on this? The Jets are feeling pretty good even though they lost, and the Bills were just so explosive last week in the fourth quarter to pull out a win over the Ravens.
I think 7 days ago, exactly to this moment in time, that this over-under was probably 40.5. But then you had the Jets offense explode against the Steelers. You had the Bills, fourth quarter, fireworks. And I think it jumped a touchdown. I would be willing to put money on that. That's a fact. I don't know what it was, but I would bet a week ago, because they do advance lines in the future, I would bet this was around 40.5. And they added a touchdown to it. And the reason is because what I just said. And I think Justin Fields is going to continue to look good. Look out for one of my 5 guys this week, Tyler Johnson, the wide receiver for the Jets, not Ty Johnson, the running back for the Bills. But look out for him to continue to be somebody that Fields can look for. Mason Taylor at tight end, and the 2 running backs. I recommended Braylon Allen over Zach Charbonnet a few minutes ago for, I believe, Rob. And I think that they'll be able to move the ball against the Bills. I don't know if this is going to get to 46.5. I think if I was a betting man, I would take the under. I think it lands somewhere around 44, like a 24-20 type game. But both these offenses have what you could have. I think Keon Coleman is somebody who had a big week last week, and somebody's going to put him in their lineup, and he may not give you what you're hoping to get. I like him. All you have to do is watch this season from episode 1 till now. I like him this season. I just think in this game he might disappoint. I think that he put himself on the scene as their top dog, and the Jets didn't overlook that.
Yeah, so I think we may see a little bit more of Cook and Ray Davis on this. By the way, Mason Taylor, the tight end for the Jets, is questionable, but he is expected to play. I mean, the atmosphere is going to be electric there in New York.
Yeah.
Hopefully their
New
bubbles
Jersey.
aren't burst. New Jersey. Thanks. All right.
Which is, it's just call them the New Jersey Jets and the New Jersey Giants. It makes
It'd be a
sense.
lot easier from people here in the Midwest, by the way. All right.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
Next game, the Cleveland Browns against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore's returning home after a really tough loss. They are favored by 11.5. The over/under is 44.5. Quinshon Judkins is obviously back in the game. Flacco had a nice game. We look for their double tight end to maybe cause some issues with the Ravens, with Fannin and Njoku. On the Ravens side, I mean, they've got the weapons. Zay Flowers had a big game. Not many people were high on him going into the season, but the Ravens seem like they have everything going for them. What do you see in here? Is there anybody that you are sort of cautious about in playing traditionally if you had drafted them?
I like the over in this one. It's the new Browns at the old Browns, and the new Browns quarterback used to be an old Brown quarterback, won a Super Bowl with them. So that'll be an interesting, nice little what's the word I'm looking for? Dynamic. I think this one's going to have a lot of points. I think you're going to see Tillman and Judy awaken. I like that they're going to splash in, I'm sure, Judkins, maybe a couple goal line thrusts, if you will, the double tight end like you talked about. The problem with this game right now in this moment in time is that it's week 2 and there's no buys. Injuries, thankfully, are at a minimum. So there's no real way for you to force guys like Tillman or Judy's probably wide receiver 2-3 on most teams. But there's no way to force him in your lineup. But I really like him. Zay Flowers looked amazing last week. I thought Rashad Bateman was going to have a better game. I like Bateman again going into this one. This one I would hammer the over on. I think this one's going to be back and forth. I think with Lamar and what we've seen out of Flacco these past couple of years, and he's got all the weapons in the world. I dare say the Browns have more weapons than the Ravens.
Speaking of Ravens weapons, you see Mark Andrews was disappointing last week. Likely he's out again today.
Yep. I'm fine with Andrews going into him in this one. He's an old man that needs to sit down, but until likely comes back, there's no stopping him. This one's going to be high scoring. This is going to go over this total.
All right. Your fan club loves that prediction, by the way. They're howling to the
I hear
skies.
that. Yeah, there's the Browns.
All right.
There's the dogs. The dog
NFC East showdown. The New York Giants playing the Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 4.5. Now, we talked about Daniel Jones. He was one of the 5 or 6 players that put over 20 points up last week. Is he going to continue with that? Wendell Robinson is questionable with an injury. Malik Neighbors has his back. Who are the Giants going to focus on in the backfield? Is it Tracy? For the Cowboys, we've talked about Williams a little bit. CD had a nice game until he became Mr. Butterfingers again. Dak looked really good. The Cowboys were mixing it up, throwing to Ferguson and a couple other wide receivers. What do we expect here for the Giants and Cowboys?
I've got and I'm writing myself a note so I don't forget. I've got a cheap. Oh my gosh. Can you hear me?
We can hear you barely. I mean, these dogs. You know, it's funny when they started barking when we were talking about the dogs, the Browns. You know, they want to be part of the dog pound.
Timothy knows the dog pound. That's them. That's them. They're still hooting and hollering. I feel like I'm at college game day with the fans behind me screaming, hooting, and hollering. I'm just trying to talk. Tight end, fantasy. What the hell? I can't even think. Daily fantasy, tight end. Here's who you put in, nice and cheap. build the lineup around him. Theo Johnson for the Giants. Cowboys traditionally are not good against the tight end. You saw it last week with Dallas Goedert tearing them up. They're going to have to throw the ball. Theo Johnson will have a nice game for Russell Wilson. And if he's not there, it's Jameis Winston. If he's not there, it's Jackson Dart. All three of them will be looking at the tight end no matter what happens at quarterback in this game. He's a nice fantasy, daily fantasy Sunday lineup guy because he'll be real cheap. And I like him a lot in this game, but you probably have no way to get him in your real fantasy lineup. So if you play daily, he's who you're looking at. Aside from that, I mean, you continue with Neighbors. I think the running back situation will be decent enough. You can continue to trot out Tracy as RB2 or a flex. Scattable's just not quite there yet. Mr. Wan'Dale Robinson. People went nuts over him. He had his game, but I think that's like his ceiling. He's like, you want to talk about sliced bread. He's sliced bread in the bad way. He's just plain as white bread, right? It's like, you made me a white bread sandwich. It's good sometimes. Sometimes you just want a nice 2 slices of white bread, a nice some cold cuts, some cheese, a little mayo, some veggies maybe on there. But sometimes you want a nice, sexy sandwich with some bite to it, right? And a little crust on it and some seasonings maybe. That's not what Wan'Dale Robinson is. So I can't really recommend him. Hopefully everybody understands what the hell I was just talking about. But CD, Pickens, continue to throw him in there. Ferguson, the Cowboys offense is going to be fine in this one. They looked great last week for 2/3 of the game, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So
that's right.
Right back.
And the Giants say they're going to stick with Russell Wilson. We'll see how long their patience lasts. I think Russell's going to have another tough outing. All right. The Bears and the Lions. Big game here. We've got a lot of different NFC North matchups, but there's just so much connection here. Caleb Williams didn't look that great last week. The Lions took a step back playing a tough Packers defense on the road, but they come back home. They have a lot to prove after that first week debacle. The Lions are favored by 6.5. What do you see here in this game? People are really high on the Bears. Will they be able to perform to the expectations against these Lions?
Yeah, this one, the first thing I saw was the over-under. And I'm writing that one down because I like the over in this one. You got Ben Johnson coaching the Bears going against his old team. There, he was the offensive coordinator. You got Montgomery going against his old team in the Bears. You got Swift going against his old team in the Lions. A lot of back and forth in this one. A lot of moving parts. NFC North, you throw everything out the window when it's a divisional matchup. That's what I said going into the Dallas-Philly game. The opener. I think the Lions right the ship in this one and correct it. I think that it was a lot of last week, a lot of sort of what you talked about. The Green Bay defense really is that good. They were on the road. I do think they will take a step back with Ben Johnson not being their offensive coordinator. But I think in this one against the Bears, Ben Johnson has a little bit of inside information on the goings on and the players, and that'll help their defense against the Lions. So I think they'll be able to keep it relatively competitive, but 40.5 is too low for these two teams in a dome. They could both easily get into the 20s. I think that's an absolute smash. And imagine if you tease that down with the Cleveland one and get this down to 34.5 and the Cleveland one down to 38.5. I just think that's money in the bank. For the Bears, I like Odunze. I think he's going to become their wide receiver one. And It's not going to be DJ Moore, but DJ Moore's fine. Loveland did a little bit last week, but not much. Komet was still involved. Roshan Johnson's going to play for the first time this week. They got Manungai, the rookie. I think Swift will be fine, as he was last week. And on the Lions side, it seems like they got so many weapons. Taslaw caught that amazing touchdown that really is not getting enough publicity because it was a garbage touchdown that meant nothing, and it was his only target of the game. But hopefully you all have seen that. I would think most people saw Isaac Taslaw's touchdown, his one-handed grab against the Packers in week 1 at the end of the game. He's going to be a force for this team. I think they're going to continue to get him involved as that third wide receiver. I'm fine playing just about all my Bears and all my Lions. I don't know how this over-under is at 40.5.
Well, the reason is there's probably a typo. I just checked it. It's 46.5. It's 46.
And that makes more sense.
Yeah. I saw that right away, and I started looking it up when you started talking about it. It's 46.5. So,
either way, I still like it. I could see this game 27-21 easily.
All right. Play your Bears and Lions. Rams minus 5.5 over the Titans, 41.5. It's down in Nashville. And we talked a little bit about this game with some of the questions so far. So on the Rams side, are they going with Kyren and Puka and the old man, Devontae Adams? On the Titans side, the Rams defense has been pretty good. We've talked about Ridley. Pollard's got to be the man. Cam Ward had a tough matchup against the Broncos in week 1. What do we see from them here in this game?
This, I don't want to keep harping on them, but this over-under, if correct, is completely reactionary. Completely. The Rams last week didn't do much. They were playing against Houston. Houston has a really good defense. And neither offense was really doing anything. Puka looked incredible, and I think that'll continue here. So that's that. And the Titans, it was the first game for Cam Ward. He had, I think, 8 targets to the other rookie, Alec Ayamanor, who I had to drop in a league because I had to pick up I don't remember what it was, but I had to pick somebody up, and I really didn't want to do it. I kept him in the other leagues that I have him in. I think him and Ridley are going to be just fine. I already recommended Pollard in this one. Chig didn't really have a good game. Okonkwo for the Titans. I think being at home is going to open up the offense and really let Cam Ward settle in and get those passes to the guys. I like this one to go over as well. Devontae Adams, I got nothing against him, but he's right around that sit-down age, like you mentioned, Marty. I think you could start him in this one. I just don't know why you would need to, I guess. Was he drafted as a wide receiver 2 or 3? Anybody with Devontae Adams, if you're in the chat, let us know where you drafted him. I don't even remember because I overlooked him on all ADPs. It was just like, I don't want him. But if you had to, sure. I like the Titans in this one. I like the Titans to win this game, to be honest.
Okay. Go to another. Talked a little bit about here, Seattle going across country for a 1:00 game against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense has been playing well. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, fantastic game against his old Jets. Will he have a letdown here? I thought the Steelers just looked really, really good. For the Seahawks, I'm waiting for Toria Horton to get onto the field. You also have another Five Eyes for your guys at tight end, Aurora, I believe it is. The Seahawks have the double running back there with Walker and Charbonnet. What do you see here with the Seahawks and Steelers? Another 40 and a half there.
Yeah, I'll try and make up some time on this one. I thought last week the Seahawks, I thought it would be Sam Darnold seeing the ghosts again, like he did against the 49ers in the past. This might be the one. You're in Pittsburgh. It's a completely different beast. Aaron Rodgers, can he have another 4-touchdown game? I don't know if he's going to need to. Once they started using Jalen Warren, everything just opened up for them. So DK, go ahead and use him. Roman Wilson did nothing. Calvin Austin scored. I love Calvin Austin. I was talking him up before anybody knew who he was, before he was even on the field. But I think that if you're putting him in your starting lineup this week, it might be a little reactionary. We'll see. I'd rather wait than make a move like that, because you probably picked him up. And if you draft him, he's on the bottom of your bench anyways. Leave him there. I think the run game will do it in this one. I think they'll cause fits for Darnold. JSN looked great last week with no other help. I thought that was going to hurt him, but he looked fine. This one's one where I'd be okay staying away from some guys aside from DK and Jalen Warren and JSN. I guess you got to keep them in the game.
All right. Go through one more here. 49ers and Saints, we did talk a little bit about at the top with Mac Jones starting. You feel that, he's a system quarterback, and that's what the 49ers do. You like Pearsall. Jennings is coming back. Questionable, but he should play.
Yep.
Obviously, Purdy and Kittle are out. For the Saints, they're back at home. Olave has been the question of the days, including should we play him or should we not? What do you see here with the 49ers and Saints?
I think Olave is a good play. I just don't like their quarterback. I think he's a good play, and they're at home, so that'll help as well. I think you have to keep him in your lineup if you don't have better options. And the problem is, a couple people that had a question had better options, in my opinion. But I like Olave. He's fine in this one. Dog Pound thinks so too. Kamara, you got to keep trotting him out there. CMC, Pearsall. I think I'd wait on Jennings. You didn't use him last week. I think you're okay just leaving him out now. And I'm not a Shaheed guy. Juwan Johnson has done this before in the past, where he's had his nice big games and everybody goes nuts and then he disappears. So I think if there's a tight end in this game where if you're in dire straits, it's my boy Jake Tonjes, because he's the starter for the Niners. And it probably I said Theo Johnson, but it probably doesn't get any cheaper than Jake Tonjes this week for daily fantasy.
All right. Let's go to a few questions here that have popped up. So, Chris, Charbonnet or Aaron Jones in his flex?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I wanted to say Aaron Jones. I just can't do it. It's the matchup is easier. They didn't overuse him last week. And Mason outplayed him. The Pittsburgh defense is enough for me to say Aaron Jones.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
And that hurt to say. I'm sorry, Zach. I'm sorry, Zach.
You're going against him this week, but it's a tough matchup. All right, Tim, Tracy or Aaron Jones. It's a PPR.
Right, I'll redeem myself with this one. Tracy. I just like him. I think that the Giants have to use him against Dallas, and Scattable's not there yet.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Antonio. Antonio's here.
Yay, I'm so glad. Thank you.
My friends, in one league, it's two between Higgins, Judy, and Warren.
Oh, boy. I'm going to go Higgins and Warren. I really like all three of them today. I really do, Antonio. I don't think that you'll have a bad choice either way. The only way I would justify Judy over Higgins is that it's the number one and Higgins the number two. But the matchup, I think, for Higgins is better. So I'm going to go Higgins and Warren.
All right. And Antonio has another league. Look at this here. Let's try this. There we go. There we go.
Nope.
Having trouble here. There we go,
There
guys.
we go.
In the other leagues, Adams, Judy, Pittman, Warren, and Pollard. He needs 2 receivers or 1 receiver and 2 running backs.
Well, here's where you put Judy in, and then you do Warren and Pollard.
I agree. We've talked a little bit about Adams already, and Pittman. Don't know what you're going to get from Daniel Jones, but not
Pittman
a bad
drives me nuts.
But I think this is Jonathan Taylor time this week. But all right, so we want to do Judy and then Warren and Pollard.
Yeah.
Thanks, Antonio. All right. And one more here. Chris is back with Watto, Booty, Ridley, DJ Moore. Pick one.
I got a really good feeling about Waddle. Booty is stringing together games. Drake May really, really likes him. I like Ridley this week. It would be those 3 over DJ Moore for me. Though I don't dislike DJ Moore at all today either against the Lions. I like all these guys to a degree. I want to say Ridley, but I think I'm just going to stick with Waddle. I'm just going to put my eggs in the same basket and I just have a feeling today Miami at home is going to right the ship. They always do at home. They're a different team.
All right.
I mean, it's 90 in Ohio. What is it in Miami? 112?
It's warm all over. Who would have known in the middle of September?
Yeah.
I agree. I think there's a lot of pressure on Miami right now. They're home. It's time to prove. It's time to make it happen, or they can just sit down for the rest of the year. They've got a lot of pressure on right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll go back to the games here. We just talked about it. Patriots and the Dolphins. Dolphins are favored by 1.5 over under 43.5.
Yeah.
What else? What do you think about the Patriots and their running game? Stevenson, Henderson. We've talked already about the receivers for the Dolphins. Wright's not back yet. He should be back soon. But you've talked a lot about Waddle. What about Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
And obviously, Tua's got to have a game. Tua seems to play much better at home, as you mentioned. So what do you see with this Dolphins-Patriots game?
Yeah, fine with the top 2 for Miami. Fine with Achane. I think the Ollie Gordon train, I mean, you're not starting him. There's no reason to start him. Patriots, Booty is a fine start if you don't have better options for whatever reason. Same with Pop Douglas, DeMario at this point. Can't play Kyle Williams. We saw that last week. Rookie wide receiver. It's taking him some time. Hunter Henry, love it, tight end. Loved him last week. Was very involved. The 2 running backs for them as well. So there's definitely guys you could play on these teams. Patriots offense, it looked like they went into that game last week thinking they were going to run all over the Raiders. I almost called them Oakland. Run all over Vegas. And it didn't happen that way. And I think they know going into this one, even though the Dolphins looked atrocious last week, it's going to be tough. It's always tough in Miami. I like Miami this week. If you have Tyreek Hill and Waddle, obviously, and you were disappointed last week, I think you have to stick with it.
All right. Going to the 4 o'clock games, Panthers against the Cardinals. Cardinals favored 6.5. What I'm looking here is just really see what are the Panthers going to do. You have Tet, Hubbard, but is Bryce finally going to get it together? I know you've been very high on him, but he seems to be after his end of the year. Last year, everybody seemed like, okay, that's who we wanted to see, and he struggled last week really terribly. Do you see anything different against this Cardinals defense?
Yeah, he didn't look good last week. And it's not going to be easy against the Cardinals in Arizona. I think I'll say it until it happens. Trey McBride scored a touchdown. I felt more strongly about it last week. Didn't happen. But I'll just keep saying it. And maybe if I stop saying he'll score. So maybe if he doesn't score this week, I won't say it again. And he'll just score every game the rest of the year because I won't say it. But you play Trey McBride, obviously, Harrison. You don't really have to touch anybody else. The Connor situation, Benson looked better. I think that if you're really struggling at RB2, I would take a shot at Trey Benson in this one, to be honest. They used him enough last week, and now you got a softer run matchup with the Panthers. Their secondary traditionally is a little bit better than their run defense. And then McMillan, I'm playing. Xavier Legette didn't do much. Jatavion Sanders didn't do much. Chuba. This one could turn out to be a boring game, but I hope it's not because I like a lot of the players on both these teams. Just continue. It's week 2. It's a roller coaster. It's ebbs and flows. It's all that. Take the ride for the next 3 weeks, week 2, 3, 4, and then we could start making some crazy moves.
All right. Chris may have missed his question here. This was pick 3 out of his 5 receivers.
Sure. Yeah, we went
with 3.
Yeah, but it's not that middle 3. He wrote them in a different order.
Oh, different order now.
We wrote Pittman, Evans, and Pearsall. And
correct.
we
didn't like the matchup there, and
right.
Keenan
we don't love Pittman because he doesn't do anything consistently his entire career. So if you want to have the double Tampa Bay, or if you're really in love with Keenan Allen and you want to play either one of them over Pittman, by all means, it's your team. We can only give you a suggestion. Pearsall and Evans are a must for me. Even though Evans is going to be on Stingley or Stingley's going to be on Evans, I don't care. It's those two, and it's Pittman for me today.
All right. We told Antonio that he could go with Warren and Pollard, but now he probably has a running back start here. I think Warren and Pollard. I'm leaning Warren. What say you?
I'm fine with that as well. I think they realize that Warren is the grease that gets their offense moving.
All right. And Chris has one more question here. McBride or Warren?
That must be Ty Warren, right? Right? It's got to be.
I would think. Maybe that could have been. Yeah.
I'm going McBride.
Okay. We'll find out.
Yeah, we will. He said yep.
Next game. The Broncos.
I got to speed it up.
Indy. Broncos are favored by 2.5 over the Colts.
I like the way you set it up because we do a lot of this talking already. So go ahead, and then I'll go quickly because I know that you got somewhere to be.
Yeah, so the Colts, I think this is going to be a Jonathan Taylor game, although Daniel Jones probably slipped a little bit earlier, but Daniel Jones scored over 20 points last week. Does that continue? The Broncos have a great defense, but Nix, Cortland Sutton, Mims, is it JK? Is it? Do we see a little bit more of Harvey? So what do you like in this game? Who do you like to shine in the Dome in Indy?
Yeah, RJ Harvey looked the part last week when he got a few touches, didn't he? He's also somebody in daily fantasy you could probably get pretty cheap if you're running a little low after you've compiled your lineup and you need a RB2 or a flex. I would take a shot against this Colts defense. We talked a lot about this game. I'm not playing Josh Downs. If you're a Josh Downs truther or person that likes him, go ahead by all means. Warren, sure, you draft him to be your starting tight end. But it's a very tough defense, but they are at home. I do like Pittman to continue. Fingers crossed. And I agree with Marty, Jonathan Taylor, and Cortland Sutton. And I mean, that's about it. It's ancillary guys at this point. We can't, unless I'm really feeling it, we can't really suggest them. There's no reason.
Also another tight end, Evan Engram? Do you see he's going to be included a little bit more in this game, or?
I would hope so. He was hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I would pivot if I had him.
All right. The Eagles and the Chiefs. Super Bowl rematch. For the Eagles, Shipley and Goddard are out. For the Chiefs, Worthy are out. We have been talking about the Chiefs, but this could be a debut of Tank Bigsby, sparing some of his Barkley's runs. I know you love Bigsby, as you just said. What are we seeing on the Eagles? Last week, the Eagles just felt they could just run a little bit with Hurts and didn't need to do a lot. Barely any targets to their wide receivers. For the Chiefs, Hollywood Brown was the target. He had 8 catches for 50 yards until that last scrambled of a catch for 49 yards. He finished for 10 catches for 99 yards. I think we see Hollywood catching the ball, but not many yards after the catch. So what do you see here? Is Kelsey going to be another target? Gray, the other tight end? And we talked about the Chiefs running game. What do we see from Pacheco?
Well, the Eagles had a lot of injuries on defense in that game, and they were young going in, especially in the secondary. I think Patrick Mahomes will do what he can do to exploit that. Tyquan Thornton was my number 1 5 guy for your eye because they just missed him on. I mean, it would have been like a 70-yard touchdown on their first drive last week, but he overthrew him by like 5 yards, and then he did it again. If he had connected on that first one, he probably would have been the number 1 waiver wire ad, but because he didn't, nobody knew it happened unless they were paying attention. So he continued to look through him. So I think that's someone I'm looking at this game, but you're not playing him, right? So I'm just reiterating 5 guys for your eyes isn't a guy always necessarily ever to pick up and play this week. It's somebody that you want to have on your team because they still have this game and then 4 more after it before Rice is back. Worthy will probably be back next week. We'll see. Maybe it might be 2. But Hollywood, I'm not playing him, but he'll continue, just as you said, Marty. He'll catch balls. He'll be their number 1. And then Kelsey, they didn't use Gray at all last week. Pacheco, to me, looks sluggish. We'll see if he gets a little better at that. And for the Eagles, I think Dallas Goedert getting hurt did a lot of people a favor. Because I think a lot of people had him on their bench, and a lot of people would end up playing him this week. And I don't think that he would have done anywhere near what he did last week. The Chiefs don't give up to the tight end like Dallas does. They just don't. Conklin had his one last week. Conklin also had a big fumble. They hit him right when he was 5 yards after the catch. They're tough against tight ends. Calcaterra will be their guy. We mentioned him over the past year or 2. I'm not sure if he's a rookie last year or 2 years ago, but A.J. Brown, you put him in. Devontae Smith put him in. Saquon's in. I think they'll use Tank sparingly. I think maybe you'll see a little more A.J. Dillon, but once again, it's week 2. You're not using them.
Yeah.
I think
who do you like in this game?
I want to say I like the Eagles, but I think the Chiefs will win this one. I don't know how. I just think they will. They looked not good last week, and the Eagles, in my opinion, didn't look great until the last third of the game, where they just held the lead. Dallas was going in to take the lead before that fumble, and right after the fumble was the rain delay. Dallas was toe-to-toe with them. And I'm not saying Dallas is terrible. That means the Eagles are terrible. I just think in Kansas City, it's going to be crazy, and the Chiefs are coming off a loss. The Eagles are coming off a narrow win. I think the Chiefs get them in this one. I don't know how, but I think they will. I thought the same thing last week with the Chargers. I like the Chargers better than the Chiefs, but I thought the Chiefs pull it out. I think it finally happens this week.
All right. So, Jeremy, through this before the show, Casey, I think the Empire is crumbling. They would go 0-2 for the first time since 2014. So,
what a segue.
Look. Yeah. All right. Sunday night game. The Falcons versus the Vikings and your man JJ. Vikings are favored by 3.5. The one thing that I'd really like to see from the Vikings, they cut down the number of touches for Aaron Jones Mason, who I think I have him on my team, and I'm just looking for him to take over a little bit more. All the tools are there. The Falcons come back. They now have Mooney, their second receiver. They have Pitts. Pitts is going to have a big year, I believe. London, is he going to crackle like a matchstick if he gets really hit hard with his shoulder? And then you got Bijan and Penix. So I think this is going to be a great Sunday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you like in this game, and any stars that we think we should call out on?
I think you could just continue. If you used Pitts last week, you use him this week. If you use Hockenson, you use Hockenson. JJ's fine. There's no way you're touching, or there's no way Jalen Naylor or Ty Felton are touching your lineup in week 2. So just forget about it. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, I think they're both fine plays, especially with the Sunday Night Magic. Bijan, my number 1 overall in fantasy heading into the year, showed out last week. In London, again, it's not for the weak stomachs. Because he could get hit in the first quarter and that's it. So it's tough. If you've got somebody close, I used to be on the wild side, but now I'm a little older. I played a little safer. If it was me, I would really think about sitting Drake London. But he's going to have a good game if he stays healthy, and that's the issue. You can't predict an injury.
Nope, can't at all. All right, we're going to go. There's 2 Monday night games. The first game, let me go first. Question, Hurts or Mahomes?
Antonio, I think there is a very good chance that Mahomes outscores Hurts through the air. However, because of his legs, and Mahomes can do a skedaddle and run, I know. But if they get close, it's the tush push. I am not sitting Hurts for Mahomes. Even if Mahomes ends up outscoring Hurts by double digits, I will stand by it. Hurts over Mahomes is the correct play. So I'm playing Hurts. However, I do see a path where Mahomes outscores Hurts through the air to the tune of maybe 3+ touchdowns and well over 250 passing yards for Mahomes at home. After last week against a beat-up young secondary, but you can't sit Hurts for Mahomes. You can't. There's just too many variables, too many extras that are included with Hurts that you have to play him. If they get close, it's Hurts. All right? The receivers are covered, it's Hurts. So it's just, I'm playing Hurts.
All right, let's go to the Monday night games. First game, 7 p.m. The Buccaneers and Texans. We've been talking about this game, obviously, with Ibuka being a choice of whether to start or sit. The Texans are favored by 2.5. Again, the Texans running back situation's unknown. Stroud, will he have more time to throw with Nico Collins and Higgins and Schultz? For the Buccaneers, the Texans defense secondary is really tough. They can pressure. They can put the pressure on the quarterback. Obviously, Bucky Irving and Otten's in there. Evans. Who do we like in this game? Is there anybody that you think you'd want to sit? We talked a little bit about Ibuka. If you have better options, probably one to maybe sit. First game.
Yeah. Last week, I said to play Ibuka, and a couple people had me the question to play him. And this week, I would continue to be okay playing Ibuka. And if you didn't play him last week, I've talked about all show today, Marty, that, and this is how it's been for years with Answers by Guess, or with me especially. Don't look at week 1 especially and be like, oh, this guy blew up, I got to get him in my lineup. And that might be a reaction with Emeka Egbuka, right? But I think he should have been in your lineup already, week 1. So I'm okay with that reaction. If you feel like, oh, he blew up last week, he had 2 touchdowns, he's got to be in my lineup. I'm fine with that. I'm fine continuing to play the guys that you should have played last week. And this game is a perfect example. Bucky, Evans. I don't know why it would have been, but it might have been. Cade Otton might have been he was coming off a big injury. He hadn't practiced in weeks. He was not involved at all last week, but now it's a night game. It's Monday Night Magic. So if you have to, continue. Egbuka, continue. For the Texans, that's where I take a little pause because I don't think that Chubb should have been in your lineup last week. I don't think that Dameon Pierce should have been in your lineup. And although I think he's the best of the 3, I don't think Woody Marks should have been in your lineup last week. It's just a situation to avoid right now. But Nico Collins, you continue to put him out there. So this one's going to be interesting because just when you feel like the Texans don't have enough weapons, you remember they have Higgins, who I told people to play last week. They have Noel. So they have young guys that people don't know about yet. After this game, they'll know about them because I think this one will be a fun, high-scoring game with a lot of young players and Mike Evans.
Yeah, I think Baker's going to do some Monday Night Magic. Don't know if it's going to be enough against the Texans, but again, this is another great Monday night game.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens.
2 teams I like.
And finally, the Chargers favored 3.5 over the Raiders. The Raiders went across country and beat New England, sort of surprised us.
Yeah.
Big injury, although he practiced on Saturday as Bowers, tight end for the Raiders. I picked up Mayer just in case Bowers doesn't play. A little worried about that. Genti didn't have a great game, but the Raiders pulled it off. Now they're back at home. I love the Chargers down in Brazil. I told you last week that Herbert and the Chargers team is my pick to win the West. Do they continue? The problem was they get inconsistent, but they have that double-edged sword for the running game. They've got 3 great receivers, a nice tight end. Herbert seems to be hot. What do you see from this game? Is this a continuation of the Chargers being hot, throwing the ball all over? They stick with the running game. And for the Raiders, do they get a little bit more to be able to keep up with the Chargers?
Yeah, Hampton looked good for me for the Chargers. They weren't really using Najee with his one eye last week. They're letting him get acclimated. So hopefully, hopefully they continue to use Hampton much more than Harris, unless you're a Harris owner. But he shouldn't have been in your starting lineup anyway. McConkey, go ahead. The Keenan Allen, I feel like it's going to fall off. Is it going to be this game? Probably not. I do think that Herbert and that offense as a whole is light years beyond the Patriots. So I think that they'll be just fine going against this Raiders defense that looked like they could beat the 2000 whatever Patriots it was with Randy Moss, the almost undefeated team. That's what the Raiders defense looked like last week. But that was going against Drake May and a team that just got punched in the nose and never recovered. For the Raiders, a lot of people still don't know about Mr. Thornton. Jacoby Myers did well last week. I recommended him, and I said, you know what happens when I recommend guys I don't like. But he had a really good game, so maybe I broke the spell, Marty. But no, a lot of people still don't know who Thornton is, and I have a feeling that because it's Monday night and everybody's watching. And by the way, I like what the NFL did. For the first time ever, they didn't stagger these games an hour apart. They're going to be able to watch one entire game and then watch another entire game, why was that never what they did? It made no sense. It's like, oh, the game's on. Oh, wait, the other game just started and I'm at the end of the first quarter. It's like, come on. But anyways, I digress. Thornton has a big game. People are going to go out and want to grab him when waivers clear Tuesday night. So based on everything that happens, if you're allowed to drop bench guys, you go to the waiver wire, you pick up Thornton before Monday night, and you keep him stashed on your bench because if he pops off, he's going to be the number 1 waiver wire ad of the week. He's a beast.
He was on Five Guys for Your Eyes. Definitely somebody to watch. So we have some really good matchups. Don't see any more questions. So that's our take on continuation of week 2. I hope everyone has a great day and your teams give you a win. And I think we'll be back on Tuesday night. Yes, to review and have a new list of Five Guys for Your Eyes and other surprises. So
yeah, enjoy the games today. Enjoy the nice weather from inside on your couch watching them. It's the best way to do it on a Sunday in football season.
If we're able to, if you happen to have other questions before kickoff, put them on Facebook and that. We'll try to keep an eye on them and answer them if we're able to. Well, we thank everyone for joining us and have a great Sunday.
You.
See you guys.
Thank you, Marty, for helping out once again.
Yep.
Good luck today, everybody.